Hi, I'm Sally and this is my tutorial for my crocodile or alligator. I have noticed that there are other crocodile and alligator tutorials on YouTube, but I didn't actually see them until after I'd made this. So this one's not as 3D, it's flatter, it's more as if you're looking down on it with it being in the water rather than it out walking around. But I'll show you how to make mine. I did originally design it like this one, with the mouth open, but looking at it again I think it looks a little bit strange, so I've redone it without the mouth being open and I think it does look better. So let's get started, I'll show you how to make this one. For him you will need 156 bands of whatever colour you choose to his body. I'm going to do green, different colours greens. And you'll need 2 black bands for his eyes. So first we are going to make his feet. So taking double green bands or whatever colour you're doing his body, you're going to place them over the first 2 pins here. And I am using a light green sort of opaque band. And I'm also going to see what it looks like using these glitter bands as well. And I'm also going to use a dark green. So I'm using 3 different greens. I hope it's going to come out okay. So 3 times, and you're going to place a cap band on this 4th pin. And you're going to wrap that around 3 times. 3. And then loop it up. Pushing the cap band out the way with the back of your hook and making teardrop shapes as you loop them. So it should look like this on the loom. And then remove it, put it to one side, either on a holding hook or one side if it's not going to unravel. And then pause the video and you'll need to make another 3. So you have 4 legs in total, and when you have your 4 legs like this, I'll show you how to make his tail. So, sorry, with your loom in this configuration, arrows pointing towards you. Should have mentioned that before. Then taking 3 bands, so 3 single bands together, going down your loom, and we're going down with 3 bands 3 times. And then, once you've done that bit, going down just with 2 bands together, so just 2 bands, you're going down 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have this, so you have the 3 lots of 3 and then 4 lots of 2. And then we're going to go down another 4 times using bands that are doubled over. So if you take a band, take a single band, stretch it out, cross it over, and then double it back onto itself, like this. And then you're going to place this over the 2 pins here. And you want to do that a total of 4 times. Like so. So you should be stopping 1 pin away, so you should stop the 2nd pin up from the bottom. We're going to place a cap band on this. So we're going to take a single band and wrap it around this bottom pin 3 times. Like so. And the double bands will give it a really narrow look here. So it will start off quite thick next to the body and it will go down so it's really thin at the end. So now we're going to loop up, so as always, pushing the cap band out the way with the back of your hook and looping up. So you're going all the way up to the end. And should you lose any bands, if they come off of your hook, just reclaim. This is a really, really narrow, really small hook. It's quite useful for things like that. I'm just hooking up into the double bands. And then onto the threes. Which are a bit trickier. Bit did you get there? So when you have your tail like this, you're ready to remove it from your loom. So open it in through the end and just pulling it off. Give it a little wiggle if you need to. Like that. And here is your crocodile or your alligator's tail. And just place that to one side. I'm just going to use one of these plastic hooks that you sometimes get in with the bands. But they are good for holding things. So there we go. One tail. And now we're going to make his head and body. So taking your loom, same configuration. You're taking 2 single bands and just placing them over the end of your loom like that, so they are loose. And then taking double bands again, and you're coming down from the first centre to the first side, same both sides. And you want to go down 3 times along the side of from each side of your loom, using whichever bands you choose to use. They don't have to be green. It can be whatever you want them to be. You can do all one colour, or each band can be a completely different colour. Just depends on your choice and your taste. There we go. And then we're going to go down the centre, so we finish on the pin that's diagonally below where you've just finished with your other bands. Double bands all the way. I generally do lighter coloured bands here. If you are using different coloured bands like me, I do lighter ones here because his eyes are going to go across here and it will just help them to show up a little bit more. They might blend in a bit if I use like my dark green bands. It might blend in a little bit. So there we have it. We're going to put a diagonal band from here to here, and then another one from here to here. Double bands. I say one, I meant 2. So from there to there, and then from here to here, and this is your crocodile's head. Now we're going to put on his neck. So double bands going down like this, and then we're going to place a band diagonally here to here and then here to here, like so. Now the way I've done the back is I've used rolled bands to give the sort of bobbly effect that crocodiles generally have. If you want to do the rolled bands, then you will need 19 of these. And to make these, you just take your hook, take a single band of whatever colour you want the roll to be, and you just wrap it around your hook 3 times. So it looks like this. And then taking a single band, put it on the end of your hook, hold it with your finger, and slide it down like this. So if you want to make 19 of those, then pause the video, come back and I'll show you how to make the back. If you want to keep the back smooth, then you can just use double bands without the rolled bands. But I'll show you how to use the rolled bands. So, single band, like so, and then take a rolled band with a rolled band on it, and then just hook it over. So you do have 2 bands, but the top one has a rolled band on it. So it's like this. So you've got the single band underneath, and the single with the roll band. Okay. And you basically just work your way down the back using these bands. Whichever colour you want the bottom, which will become the top. And just pull them out and then hook each end of the loop over. So just keep going with it all. Like I say, you don't have to use roll bands, you can just use double bands all the way down, and that's absolutely fine. I quite like this effect on him. Just putting a row of singles on first, and then add on the rolled ones. And it'd be really nice to see what you come up with in different ways of doing the back and different colour combinations. I am on Instagram, so if you'd like to find me on there, I'm at Sally's Looming, and you can tag me in your pictures so I can see what you've made, either using this or any of my tutorials. It's nice to see how they come out. And also let me know if there's any other designs you'd like me to make. I will always do my best. I'll always have a go and see what I can come up with. So just comment under this video. And I do also have a tutorial on YouTube for a gecko, if you like your reptiles. So please take a look at that one too. It's not too difficult to make, not too time consuming. So once you get to this stage, so you've gone down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times down the back and down the centre, sorry, down the side and down the centre. You want to put one last band here, so single band and then another single with a roll band on it, and that should use all of your 19 rolled bands. We're going to close the body off, so taking double bands, going diagonally, and I'll show you in just a second. So put all of your roll bands all the way down the back, and then you're just going to close it off like this. And then on this peg here, we're going to add the tail. So take the tail from wherever you've put it, stretch it out and place it over that last pin here. And we're also going to pop on his legs. So we're going to put 2 legs on these 2 top pins here. So you've got his neck and these 2 pins here, which is sort of where his shoulders are. So again, stretch out those bands and just put it over that peg. And stretch it out. And that band's hiding. There we go. And pop it over. And then the last 2 legs we're going to place on these pins here, which is the 3rd one from the bottom, so they're opposite each other. So one on that side and one on this side. So there's his body with his legs and his tail. Just got to put his eyes on. So for his eyes, taking 2 single back bands, wrapping them individually around your hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3, like this, and then taking a single green band, one that sort of blends in with the colours you've been using is good, so I'm using a lighter coloured band. On the end of your hook, hold it with your finger and just slide these 2 wrapped bands over your hook and onto that band. So it looks like this, and then we're going to place it across the 3rd pin from the top. So 1, 2, 3, so it's going across here, straight across his head, and separate them out. So we're here, and then what you also need to do is put your hook in between these 2 bands here and just lift this one forward. And I'm telling you lies here. I am ever so sorry. I've made a mistake. This is how I normally do my eyes, but this one's slightly different. Sorry. Take this off. You want to put these on single bands. I'm so sorry. So wrap it round. You want one on one and one on the other. So like this. So you wrap it round like you just did before I made a mistake, and you just put in one eye on one band, and you're putting them at an angle. You just pop it on and I will show you where it goes. It's easier to demonstrate then. So you're putting it on the 3rd pin and going diagonally this way onto the 4th pin in the centre, and doing the same with the other eye. Oops. Little mistake. Not catastrophic. There we go, and then put the other one like so. So when you have your eyes and your legs and your tail and everything on, like this, we're going to add on the triangle bands. So taking whichever colour you wish to use, putting them on so they look like triangles, so they're covering 3 pins, so like this. And this will just help to hold the body of your alligator or your crocodile together. So going all the way across. Don't worry about the fact that you're covering the rolled bands. Just treat them for now as normal bands, as if you just put plain double bands on. Unless you have put double bands on, in which case just carry on. Leave this one, you won't need one here. You can move on to the head. So you're going like so, yeah, and then the next 3 pins up, and the next 3 pins up again. So with all mistakes corrected and everything as it should be now, it looks like this. And once you're at this stage, you're ready to loom and loop it all up. So going inside the tail, pushing it back with the back of your hook, and finding those 2 bands, whichever way you find. If you need to pull them to one side to find them easier, then that's fine. Just do whatever way you find easiest. I'm just going to hold the pin the tail down a little bit, just so it's easier to find these bands. There you go. If you do find the tail is a little bit tight and you can't get your hook down to get the bands out, if you just run your hook around inside the pin, and it will help to loosen them, and you'll be able to pull them out with less likelihood that you will break your bands. Okay, and then again, just do that in the bottom 2 bands. Don't worry about the fact with the roll band on it, it will be absolutely fine. I haven't made a mistake this time. And there we go, so push the leg out the way, inside the leg, and you're just carrying on as if they're normal bands. Because what's happening now is as you're looping it, the bands at the moment is the top are becoming the bottom, and they're pushing through the other side, so that will become the top. It's quite clever, really. Okay, and then inside the leg again, and hooking it over, so you like this with little teardrop shapes. And we're going up the centre, so just the bottom 2 bands. As I said before, I was using glitter bands to make this today, and I've only used a few because they're not the strongest of bands, these glitter bands, and they're a little bit slippery as well. The other bands do slide off of them. I'm just going up the other side now, and I'm not sure that I like them as a crocodile, to be honest. They aren't rainbow loom bands, by the way. They're a different brand that at the moment, the name escapes me. Can't remember. I didn't think I paid much attention actually to the brand name. Inside the leg, open up. But yeah, like I said, the glitter bands aren't very strong, and I didn't want to risk having loads of snap bands within this, because so far so good. So once you've done the back, if you take the neck, go inside this band here, and you're looping up both of those bottom bands. And I've got one, and I can't see the other one. Found it. And like I say, if it gets a bit tight, just run your hook around, and it helps to loosen them and helps to relieve the tension on your pins. So then we're going inside this one at the base of his head. So again, taking the top 2 bands, and hooking them over, making a little sort of teardrop fan shape with the 3 lots of bands. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So sort of like this, so it's sort of like a fan here, but with teardrop shapes, same at the rear. And then again we're looping all the way up to his nose. It's actually quite a simple design, this, quite easy if you want to replicate it over and over, should you wish. It's quite easy to remember. Okay, and where you got the eye bands, just push them out of the way as well. Just treat them like a horizontal band and push them out of the way. There we go, and inside this band as well, all the way up. And then stop if you run out of bands on his nose. So, once he's all looped up like this, all the way along his back, his neck and his head, take these 2 loose bands here around your finger. You're placing your hook inside his nose, and you're taking those 2 bottom bands that are the loose bands, and you're pulling them around the pin and getting them on your hook like this, and give it a little pull if you can, and then pull the first lot of bands over the second lot of bands, and then use your hook to pull it tight. If you are using jelly bands and you're finding it difficult to pull tight at the moment and they just keep sliding backwards, you can take this loop, hook it underneath your loom like so, and it will help to hold it until you get it off the loom and you can pull it tighter. So once he's all tied off, you can remove him if you're all looped up with no these bands underneath, and you will see the back is appearing underneath if you use rolled bands. put him into shape. Sort out his eyes, any bands that have got caught on his back that aren't pushing through. Sort all of those things out, adjust them. And then, once he is as you want him to be, he's finished. You can tuck these bands underneath just by placing your hook through some of the bands, and then you just loop them through and pull them through. I'm going to leave mine as it is though. So there's your little alligator or crocodile. I hope you've enjoyed making him. Please like, comment, subscribe on here. Let me know if you've enjoyed this tutorial, if it was clear enough, if I was too fast, too slow. Any other designs you'd like me to make would be nice too, and as I said, I will do my best for you. On Instagram, I'm at Sally's Looming, so it'd be lovely to see your creations and different combinations of colours, or any way you've tweaked the design would be lovely to see. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.